Good morning, everybody. I feel like with the holiday, it's been so long since I have seen you guys or spoken to you guys or read a story to you. So I'm really excited. So let's get started. Good morning, kindies. Today is Tuesday and it is day 44 of learning at home. Wow, 44 days. So it's been a while. The last couple of stories that I've read to you, I don't think I've done the morning message. I think I was sitting outside or, so we've some catching up to do on our dots. So I need your help, okay? All right, so we have to stay 44. So let's see how many dots we have so far, and then we'll figure out how many more we need to add, okay? We have some full ones, so we can just count by tens. 10, 20, 30, not full, so 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I have 4 10 frames, that's 40. So we have, that's this number, that's this 4. Now we need 4 ones, so I'm going to do 4 more dots over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. We've got it. Nice job. All right. So I'm going to read you another story that I love. It's called The Littlest Lighthouse. And it's super cute. I grew up in Maine on the water, so a lot of my stories are about the ocean, you might have noticed. This is one of my favorites. It's by Ruth S. Sargent, and it's illustrated by Marion C. Litchfield. And the author lives on Peaks Island in Maine, which is kind of neat. And the illustrator was from California, but then she ended up living on Peaks Island, and that's how the author and the illustrator met. All right, it's called The Littlest Lighthouse. I'm going to turn so you can see. The pictures there aren't a lot of them, but the story's really, really cute. The baby lighthouse slowly blinked his small round eyes, opened his mouth in a big long yawn, shook his head with the sparkly cap atop, and gradually stretched himself way up high. So, this is the world, and here I am. When he gulped in a deep breath of the sweet salt air, he felt a little switch clicking deep inside him. Then some wheels began to turn. They tickled his tummy, and it frightened him. What was happening? He opened his mouth and wailed out a deep, loud voice. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Have you ever heard a foghorn of a lighthouse? That's what it sounds like. Actually, I'll do this. This might be easier. He works perfectly, just the way he is meant to. He heard the workmen shouting below as they waved their arms in delight, cheering him happily. Yes, sir, he's a mighty fine lighthouse, announced the foreman. And even though he is the littlest one around here, he has a big job to do. A job? What was that? The littlest lighthouse wondered. What was he supposed to do? As the work crew gathered up their tools and prepared to leave, the foreman looked up and told him solemnly, "You were built out here on Lone Reef because many ships have gone aground and been wrecked on these rocks on which you stand. Your job is to warn all the little boats and all the big ships passing by of the dangerous ledges under your feet. When they see you standing here as a beacon, they will heed your warnings and be safe. When it is dark, your light will shine out to guide them. If there is fog, your horn will blow. You will not be lonely, for everyone that passes by will become your friend. Do your job well, littlest lighthouse. Everyone is depending on you." Wow, that's a lot of responsibility, huh? At those words, the littlest lighthouse straightened up very tall, pushing his sparkly cap up towards the sky. He was filled with pride as he stood there, staring out over the surface of the sea. He really felt very small inside and rather frightened, but he tried to look important and full of confidence. "Good luck," the men chorused. "Perform your duty well." They shoved off in their boat, and soon the Littlest Lighthouse heard a swish and a swoosh as the tide began to rise higher and higher with each surging wave. He felt his feet being wet by the surf rolling in over them. The seaweed on the rocks tickled his toes, and the fish swimming by stopped to nibble them playfully. But the sun shone down warmly, and the air smelled sweet with salt. As the Littlest Lighthouse stood sentry, he saw large fishing boats wallowing by. Swarms of seagulls swirled about them, begging and screaming for a taste of the catch. The fishermen cheered when they saw the new lighthouse. They knew that during the bad storms, he would guide them away from the dangerous rocks that could rip open the hulls of their boats. So during storms, it's very hard to see out on the ocean, and you don't always know where the rocks are, especially the ones that are below the water. So the lighthouse during a storm has a light that spins around. So you know, okay, there's rocks there. The boats know to stay far away. And when it's really foggy and it's hard to see, sometimes it's hard to see the light, then a horn will go. And then the boats will know, uh-oh, stay away from that sound. He heard other little boats with racing motors whine along as they circled around to get a better look at him. The people on board called out a welcome and waved a greeting to him. They knew he would keep them on their course if they should lose their direction. Soon there were groups of graceful boats skimming by quietly, their sails all puffed out with wind. They tooted gaily to him on little horns. When the wind dropped and there was no breeze to push their sails out, he would warn them not to drift toward the hidden ledges below his feet. And ledges are rocks. So right here you can kind of see, like, that's a ledge. Here's some ledge right here. It's the rock that we don't want the boats to hit. Later, 3 chubby red tugboats blasted sharply as they nudged along a big black tanker. It was bringing in a cargo of oil from far away. If it should run aground on Lone Reef at night, there might be a terrible oil spill that would pollute the water and harm the fish and seabirds. They were glad to see that the Littlest Lighthouse was there to warn them. A horn blasted out, and then the tanker's crew ran up 5 flags as a message of greeting. The letters spelled out hello. "This is exciting," the Littlest Lighthouse told himself. "Everyone seems so glad that I am here. There is so much going by for me to watch. I have so many friends already, and even though I am very small, I am not alone out here." So these are nautical flags, and the stripes and the design or pattern on them all signify a letter. So H-E-L-L-O spells hello. H-E-L-L-O. Pretty neat, huh? The Littlest Lighthouse was happy standing guard out on Lone Reef that first day. He was showing people just where the dangerous ledges lay hidden below the surface of the sea. But before long, he would be able to recognize each type of boat and ship by their colors and whistles and horns. When the sun went down and it started growing dark, the gulls came swarming and swooping around to find their nests on the rocks where he stood. One settled down atop his sparkly cap and went to sleep. One slept right on his head. He felt the wheels tickling him inside again, and suddenly there were long rays of light shining out from his cap. They stretched far over the black water, first here, then there. back here, over there." The boats were gone now, but the moon came up and the stars winked out at him. He was content. He knew there would be friends with him during the night as well as the day. It was exciting, flashing out his long rays of light into the darkness. His light told the ships going by to beware, take care. It's kind of what the foghorn sounds like. The days and nights passed happily for the Littlest Lighthouse until one strange morning. As it grew light, the air seemed gray and heavy that day. He blinked his eyes hard. He could not see the boats and ships, nor the sun, not even the sea. Everything was gone. He could still feel the sharp reef beneath his feet and the slapping waves rippling in over his toes. He heard the gulls crying somewhere, but he could not see them. He tried to flash his light here and there, but the rays were feeble and dim. "What's happening?" he cried. "Why doesn't my light work? Where are all the little sailboats and the big tankers? Where are the fishing boats? Where are the seagulls? Where are all my friends?" The air seemed heavy with the scent of salt and was very, very still. Suddenly, the Littlest Lighthouse felt small, frightened and tiny, and very much alone. He was trying hard not to cry. So the weather had gotten stormy, and it was very foggy, and so he couldn't see. He felt alone because he couldn't even see the water anymore around him or the boats passing by. He was scared. He was a brand new little lighthouse. This was his first time, right? Being a lighthouse. Uh-oh, there's a boat getting close. What was the use in being way out here all alone? No one could see him. No one was anywhere around. No one even cared if he stood guard. "No one seems to need me," he sobbed very softly. "Why am I here?" Then he heard something. A faint little whistle wailing sadly, a tiny bell ringing mournfully. Voices calling to him. "Littlest Lighthouse, where are you? We are off course. We have lost our way, and we are near the reef and the rocks. Answer! Hurry! Help us! We need you!" He searched the sea in every direction, but all that he saw was a gray blur. Again he heard the whistle and the bell, then the slap of oars against the water. Someone was rowing and coming in closer, closer to the reef. They were getting nearer and nearer to the sharp ledges hidden beneath his feet. Oh boy. Oh boy, there they are. So that was it. He remembered the foreman's words now. When there is fog, your horn will blow to warn them. Now he understood. It was fog that was hiding everything from him, hiding him from the ships and boats. Everyone was still out there, even though he could not see them, and they all needed his guidance and protection even more than before. He would help them by blowing his horn as hard as he could until the fog lifted. He blew and blew his warning in a big, loud, gruff voice, telling all the boats and ships out there to beware, take care. All night he continued his warning blasts as his light flashed out right over here, over there. Even though the rays were stunted by the thick fog, it was hard to keep on, hour after hour. But he knew his friends needed his help. They were depending on his warnings to keep them away from the ledges beneath Lone Reef. This was his job. He must keep them all safe. Boy, are they close to the rocks, huh? Scary. At last, daybreak came. The gulls awakened and began to fly about, screaming in delight because the thick, foggy air was lifting. Soon the warm sun glittered down on the surface of the water all around. He stopped sounding his hoarse voice, stopped flashing his beams, and pulled himself up very high, pushing his sparkly cap towards the sky. He had done his job as he was meant to, And now he did not feel tiny anymore. Instead, he suddenly felt confident, proud, big. Why, now he felt like the very tallest, littlest lighthouse on the coast. The end. He was very brave, wasn't he? He was nervous, but he did his job and he saved those men in the rowboat, didn't he? Yeah. Very brave, just like you guys are. Have a great day. I miss you.